Hello everybody, welcome back to SketchCraft Live. Sketches at midnight. I am up late drawing tonight, preparing for Amazing Vegas Con. Got a bunch of silhouettes to get through. This is where I draw over silhouettes, and some of these might be sketches too I scanned in while I was stuck at the DMV doing some stuff the other day. But I got a grip of these. Basically what I'm going to do is, you see a kind of a silhouette here of a big guy. I got a bunch of these. I'm just going to sketch in here, kind of get it blocked in. It's not, these aren't perfect. These are just sort of like a basis for starting out. Figure sketches, you can see here some earlier ones I did for Warmup. So we're going to be doing right now. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in there below. Leave them in the comments below. Say hi in the chat if you're there. Otherwise, I'm going to get started. It's always good to kind of have a series of go-to poses, right? So while you're doing commissions, or if you, I don't know, if you're doing commissions, it's always good to have some set poses to go to. Especially at cons. So I like to kind of work it out before I start. All right. We call this drawing from center. I'm kind of finding the mass of the character. And then this is where I would put the center line. So when I know where that is, I can start to place where I want the head. That's basically what I'm doing there. And then from there, I can sort of work backwards and kind of work out the foreshortening and the anatomy based on what I already know. So I can you can get as bubbly muscled with it as you'd like, or as slimmed down as you'd like. I'm sketching on cheap copy paper, because why spend more money than you need to on this sort of thing? And even though those are humanoid in shape and in structure, let's say someone wanted a transformer, you could use these same shapes as a basis for building up, robotics and guns and stuff. You put them on there, so. God damn it. Hmm. So here you can build up the three-dimensionality of the figure in the basic pose, right? So we know where the top of the head is, the front of the head. These are just big bulky shapes. You don't have to get super crazy with specific anatomy. This is a Sharpie pen. So again, these are just rough and they give you a good starting point. You know, you can go in there and you actually want to use a pose, you can go and work out the hands and the fingers and get things more specific or cleaned up if you want. But it sure beats having to like figure out the hard part, right? And this is just good all around practice. You should be doing this maybe at least once a week, you know. One or two poses a week at least. Maybe four if you get pretty good at it, you know. Are you doing these in roughs on 8? Yeah, this is just 8.5 by 11, 3-hole drill paper. This is the cheapest. They had like a ream of 500 sheets for like $2 with the 3-hole at Staples. This is just cheap, super flimsy copy paper. Crusher. You don't have to spend any kind of real money on this. And plus with the 3-hole, I mean, technically, if you wanted to save and put them in a binder, they're already saved up for you, right? So, bonus. I don't really think about that, but yeah, you could do that. I'll scan them in. This is what I used to do in college, when they were like, you know, talking about algebra and shit. So that's one. About 10 minutes, right? And that's a fun pose, you know? Let's do another one. Thin guy leaping or falling, right? Scheiße. This might be out of lead. No, no, oh, we got lead. So here we'll find, here's a collarbone, then we're going to go center, right? So I know center is going to come down here. And based on center, we can start to work out the remaining shapes. So we can bring this here. We can do some nice circles for joints, right? Because those are three-dimensional and yet two-dimensional, so they're easy to draw. Learn this in animation. And then I'll just go ahead and kind of design them with some preset. Gear, like gear shapes. And then here we can start with the knee joint and then work on some boots. A little foreshortening for you. This I'm going to change. So all you want to do is you want to know if you're looking under something or over something. And if you're looking, here we're looking under, so we know we need to see the underneath of things. Underneath of things. I don't even think that makes any sense. But that's how I sort of build the shapes up. Am I looking, you know, I try never to do this straight on as much as possible. You know, you can always turn it 3/4. Sometimes, you know, when you're laying out a shape too, you can just throw a line there. So if you're going like with feet, and then, you know, you give yourself a little bit of an invisible plane, you can kind of work. And those invisible planes don't have to be straight, you know, they can be curved. You know, that's how you add dynamics to your shapes. Keep things looking like they're moving, even though they're sitting right on the page. Ah. I'm pressing a little hard tonight. It's not a good sign. Today was kind of a... Okay, that might be shitty lead. I wasn't pressing hard at all that time. Alright. So now I'll take the Sharpie and we'll just start. We'll have them looking down. Doesn't have to be so perfect right there. But we're still trying to keep three-dimensional shapes up, right? Even though it's a sketch and it's just figuring it out, we're still trying to keep the shapes three-dimensional. And this is a little boxy, but I can, you know, as I reuse the pose, I can work that back out. So that foot's it's a little jacked up, but you can second pass around, right? What I would probably do is maybe it's not so high up like that. Maybe it's more like this. And yay with pens. Trick is to see into these shapes. You gotta really start to train your eye, you know? Sometimes I close my left eye while I'm working. You might find yourself doing the same thing. Your right eye or one of your eyes, you know? And the cool part about sketching with the Sharpies are it's a felt tip, so you're not like killing the shit out of your knuckles. Even if you press hard, which please don't. That'll catch up. Well, oh, I always love when there's something underneath there. Nice little eraser bit. It's good enough. Let's do another one. So here's the head. We can work out the scale of the head. It's kind of a bulkier, hulky kind of character. And then we'll work out center. Do some bigger ab muscles this time. Now, I have a lot of my shapes worked out over the years. You're gonna have to study anatomy and start to work out. By drawing actual anatomy, you can start to work out your shapes for anatomy shorthand. You know, and Once a year, I kind of break out the old anatomy books and start to do practice again, but I've done it so many times that I don't have to. About 12, 15 years ago, I'd be doing it every week, figure sketching. Now I don't know, maybe once a month for figure sketching in terms of like real people. I memorize a lot of it, so after about 20 years of it, you don't have to do as much. You still got to do it. Just, I don't enjoy drawing out in public. I can figure out where the just block in some nice fists here. Probably want to keep the feet appropriately, like the same appropriately. Just well, no, you have all kinds of sites that have like random poses right from, so you don't have to worry about the pesky sun or people. Yeah, I prefer when I'm doing figure sketching of people to actually go out and sketch like people. I don't really enjoy. It's just drawing from photographs of people. Just I'm always afraid one day I'm gonna pick from someone's registered photograph and then get a copyright. So I'll go to a hotel, like a lobby or somewhere, or a Starbucks. All right, so I was a security guard when I was a kid. My dad owned a security company, so I used to sketch the shit out of people all day long. So again, we're gonna keep three-dimensional typography here as much as possible. And if you're using these like kind of poses for your final art, you can always just cross-reference your hands and when you're done, like, take a photograph of your hands and kind of study the pose you want to do. When it comes time to like actually put it all together. I try not to. I mean, I'm working it out here, but it's not 100% perfect. It's a sketch. Mm, how do I want to do see if we can find the center the actual topography of the shape, which helps. We want to go light or render your characters. You can make them look a little bit more three-dimensional. What inspired you into doing what you do now? Yeah, well, long as the whole I just drew a silhouette. There was no real inspiration. I'm like, I know I want like a whole figure, so it's just raw. Um, I know how to sketch in where I want the hand, and you know, as I want to get more specific, I could always just go to the mirror, look at my hand, make the pose, and then look at it and draw it, right? If you're at a con doing a commission, they don't have to be so perfect, folks. You can just fill in some shade, shadows, and they're your friend. But in terms of like these figure poses and stuff, like I said, as I do smaller commissions, I like to have a bunch of my own poses, and every few months I like to kind of conjure up a bunch more. And I don't like keeping them to memory, so I try to put them all down. Plus, it's just good practice. I tend to design in silhouette, and then what you see here, print them out and draw into it. Or I can do it digitally, but always helps do a little bit of everything. So there's the top, foot comes around to the side. Yeah, it's all three-dimensional. You know, that could be a thing, right? That could be a dark side. Can be could be She-Hulk, right? Hey. So and you can put a sheet of paper over it, scan it in, and then you can start to build things on top, pads, or it could be a transformer. You can build it into blocks, and you know. Let's do another one. How long did it take to be great at? I'm not great at illustrating. I'm 37. I'd say I've been doing it all my life. I took it super seriously for a living uh, in the late 90s. So this is an old sketch. Sometimes I do little pen sketches too, and I scan them in. I started my professional career around 2004. So let's just say 2004, right, is when I started getting paid to do things. Went full time 2005. So about 11 years. but these are all like techniques that I came up with for myself in 1998. You know, like I'm doing the same basic thing that I did then. I used to use Sharpies to develop the figures and light boards because I didn't have a computer, you know. Um, oh, thanks. But like I said, this sort of thing just took a long time. I kind of struggled with, like when I would draw figures in high school and in junior high, with the stick figure, right? With the skeleton formula, where you draw a skeleton and build shapes up. And so I didn't like it. And then I saw The Dark Knight Returns and Superman looked like a silhouette. I mean, that's the first time I was like, hey, I wonder if I could. I mean, it looks like Superman no matter what. So what if I just did the same thing for Batman and Aquaman and whatever else, And I would draw silhouettes of characters, and then I would start to draw into those silhouettes using tracing paper. I didn't even have a light board when I first started. And then when I was able to finally like afford a scanner in the army, I bought a computer and a scanner. Then I found out like, wow, I could take anything. I could be out in the field sketching some piece of shit little sketch and then save it, scan it in, print it back out, and start to practice. You know. Ah, yeah, from bulky to slim, but that helps with silhouettes. And to be very conscious of like um, what you're going for. Ah, all right, sketches. You can all do this. How good you draw, like line quality and technical, like clarity. That's time in. But in terms of like getting your ideas down, you know, anyone can come up with a silhouette and start to learn to draw on it. You can break it down to individual anatomy and it makes a lot more sense for me for like foreshortening and have I ever thought about making? I'm working on my own book right now called Game Cave. Yeah, I worked in comics for a long time, and indie stuff, and everything else. Just a lot of my work never got published. I'd make stuff and it would sit on a shelf. I'd get paid, but they wouldn't publish anything. So I got tired of it. So a little bit of construction can go a long way, you know? Nice. All right, so how many more? We got one. What time is it? 39. We got some time. Got a few more to do here. Let's do another one. It's another rough sketch I did while I was at the Mazda dealership getting maintenance done on my car. All you're trying to do is just kind of like keep these parallel, you know? That's all I'm doing. Now I'll follow center down. I'm going to use that to gauge how close and how far away certain points are based on perspective. Let's bring that a little lower. Try drawing the hair and muscles. If I Yeah, I mean, you can break hair down to shape. You know, for me, silhouette helps a lot with that too. You know, for these poses, I'm not really getting into hair because when I go to draw them, I would base that on like specific. Let's say one of these poses, I needed to add an element like a weapon or something. I can change the hair, make it flow. You know, like if something was coming out over here, I could have the hair. I can change that direction. All right. So So we know where the top of the head is, right? So your classic Superman, superhero sort of build. And we're not drawing outlines. We're seeing the shapes three-dimensionally. Biggest mistake you can get into is when you just start thinking of things in like outline. There's topography here, right? So there we go. What's it like being so talented? Gives me a headache. All right. What time is it? We did this for 47 minutes. We got time for one more? What do you think? Time for one more? I already drew my female poses. We can do kind of a big guy. We can do one more. All right. Get some thin Spidey poses. Ah. So again, these were some pen sketches I was doing when I was at the Mazda dealership, waiting for 4 hours for them to get my damn tires fixed. We have to get a special part. It'll take 4 hours. Could take 2. Could take 1. You want to wait? Yeah, sure, I'll wait. So, underneath of the leg, fix that. Underneath of the calf. Add a little bit more three-dimensionality to that. Then this. I think that would go right underneath. Right? The old spay. Yeah, it's the shit I grew up with right there. So there's the center of the forearm, and then we got a little bit down here showing off. And then we can circle around. That's the top of the arm. Side of the forearm. Top of the forearm. Back is curved. There's the center. There you go. Silhouettes help, man. Silhouettes help. You know? Start studying poses and silhouettes. Running, jumping, figure out the silhouettes, redraw the silhouette, print out, and draw into the silhouette. That's how you'll start to build it up. And then, you know, your own way of drawing things comes from messing around with shapes. I think that should probably go more like that. Well, you can go over here and add motion, like boom, he's jumping, whoosh. So, boom. All right, everybody. That was 1 hour. We did 1 hour. What did we do in an hour? We did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 poses. Boom. Not bad, right? For 60 minutes. All right, everybody. I got more packing to do for con. I should be tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a full commish, blink. So tonight's my last night of major packing. I got a bunch of stuff I got to get set up. So I thought I'd come on here and do some of this sketching here with you. So, well, you can do all that web stuff. You know, you can take these basic poses and then add webs and all sorts of stuff on after the fact. You know, the trick is to have them handy and you kind of know what you want to do ahead of time. You can plug effects and backgrounds and elements in. So that's the whole point. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I will answer them, and we'll be back on again real soon. Talk later. Bye.